costumes and things like that, just trying to get people to come by, check us out, and get noticed. That's from a player basis. Beyond that, we do a lot of competitions. We're entering into just about every festival that we can across the globe. Whether or not we even think that we're going to be able to send the entire team out there to showcase it, or if we just think maybe we'll send one person out with a laptop and hope for the best. Whether they're awards or like showcases, pitch competitions, all that kind of stuff, really just getting the game out there as much as possible. It's important because everybody else is doing this that you just have to be out there and you have to be present. Otherwise, there are so many other games on the market, people will find something else to play.
Yeah.
Not sure if I'm fully answering your question.
No, it's a great perspective. So essentially just doing everything and anything you can do to get your game out there. And I love your approach there too, because you're like, hey, let's just submit this everywhere possible. We don't necessarily know or how we're going to get to these, whether they're a competition or an event or whatever, but we just know if we're accepted, then we'll make that a priority in figuring that out. But at the current time, you just want to get your name out there, and that's all that matters.
It's partially. I think I got a little tripped up trying to make sure I was marketing focused, because one of the things that we do about marketing our game is marketing and developing Depths of Sanity have kind of been a side-by-side mission. We've been developing for 2 years now, and over the course of those 2 years, we've been taking it to all of these festivals and having players play it in every stage of the game so that we can iterate and improve on it. We've met with a bunch of different other small indie publications and indie groups like that, both developers and content creators, and those are a lot of the people that we'll work with and talk to, and those are a lot of people you meet going out to these conventions, and they become sort of your champions in the space. As you grow, they get to watch you grow. It's really exciting to have that sort of sense of community.
Yeah,
and really,
totally.
That's when you get into the nitty-gritty of indie dev, it's all about community. Because there are so many people doing this, there are so many resources and so many other great developers just like you, if you're an aspiring developer, who are out there. They've got advice for you. They've got stories about what not to do, stories about what to do, and they're just great. It's a great resource and a great community of people.
Nice. Yeah, no, that definitely makes a difference, and obviously being here at PAX East is a great place to be part of that community, but also the overall gaming community as well, and getting that exposure. So, well, it looks like you guys are doing really great. Hope you have an awesome rest of your PAX, and thanks so much for sharing your insight and how you overcome these challenges, man. It's looking great.
Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. We've got Brett from Bowl Cut Studios with us. How are you doing today, Brett?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Glad to hear it. So can you share with us a little bit about the game that you're showing today?
Yeah, sure. So the game's called Mage Quit. It's a top-down wizard brawler for up to 10 players, either online or local. Before each round, you draft a new spell. At the end of 9 rounds, the wizard with the longest beard wins, and you get a longer beard by killing other wizards.
That's an excellent concept. So a very kind of funny premise here.
Yeah.
Great. So, I mean, how's your experience been so far showing it at PAX?
PAX has been great, actually. PAX has been really good. It's actually the only convention that we will pay money to attend at this point. We had been going to a lot of different Comic-Cons and like anime cons and things like that. And in our experience, those weren't worth paying money for. A lot of times they'll just let you set up in the game room for free, which is more ideal, but still, PAX is kind of, as far as like exposure and like avid fans, that's where you're going to find them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's excellent to hear. So glad that you're having a positive experience so far. So for us, we're really we're kind of walking around asking everyone about kind of their marketing strategies and basically any challenges you might have encountered in marketing your game.
I honestly don't know where to start on this, but I guess I'll start somewhere. I think retention is one of the biggest things. Every time we go to a convention, whether it's big or small, pretty much we'll get an influx of people that are really excited about the game, and our Discord starts popping off for about two or so weeks, and then people it starts tailing off again, and so we sort of like revitalize our player base every time we go to a PAX. PAX East is obviously the biggest one that we'll go to and get the most players from. Actually, last year is when we launched our Discord. So we actually got like 200 people from PAX East that got in there. So that was pretty sweet. But let's see, other marketing challenges. The indie game market is pretty crowded. That's a challenge. Mm-hmm. Steam is a kind of an indie wasteland at this point. I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you've heard this. Back in October, Steam either broke something or made some changes to their storefront that basically gave indies no visibility. So at the time, we had got some visibility from Mr. Beast, is a YouTuber. He played our game on his 10,000 subscriber video or 10 million subscriber video or something like that, and so we didn't really see the cliff that most indies saw because there was like a kind of a peak and a trail, and then it sort of died. So I don't know, but anyway, so that's been the marketplace hasn't been driving traffic organically that way. Mm-hmm. So I would say actually half the sales we've made so far has been purely from promoting the game ourselves at conventions and things like that.
Right. So I mean, kind of with or even beyond that self-promotion, like what have been some strategies you've employed to kind of counteract some of these challenges?
I think, let's see here. Well, so Christine over there has been kind of acting as our resident community manager. So mm-hmm. we've been twice a week we do community nights where we get people that are more avid fans of the game. They'll stick around longer. We've actually been kind of like building up. Those have been getting more and more busy each time. And so those have been helpful, for people to know that they can get on at a certain time on the week and play. That's been helpful. Twitter has been super helpful. Mm-hmm. We have some Twitter automation in place that helps us out a lot. For example, we have our game Twitter and our studio Twitter, and then Chad and I both have personal Twitters, and we have this studio and game Twitter set up to automatically retweet our stuff. Mm-hmm. And then those just kind of accumulate follows over time because they also we have them retweeting popular game dev tweets and stuff like that. So those kind of help people stay engaged, and then they retweet our stuff. So I've noticed that organically our Twitter following has grown exponentially since we started, which is good. Honestly, I think at this point, we're probably going to have to find a publisher if we want to mitigate any risk of not having market. Marketing is going to be our biggest challenge, I think, because we have a game that people like to play. This isn't our problem. Retaining a player base shouldn't be too bad, but we need people to know about the game. So that's why we come to these events. But that is probably our biggest challenge at this point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, thank you for sharing. It definitely seems like you've already got some strategies for that organic growth and development.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Brett, for interviewing with us today.
Yeah, of course.
All right. So I think
Thanks for having me.
All right, and here we are with Kari. And Kari, what are you guys promoting at PAX? What game do you guys have?
This is Zombie Rollers. It's basically, I've been asking people, hey, do you like zombies?
Yeah.
And of course, they're either going to say yeah or no. And if they're like no, then I'll say, well, do you want to keep a bunch of zombies away and destroy them? Or if they like it, hey, do you like pinball as well? Because that's basically what it is.
Okay, so it's pretty much says what it is. Zombie Rollers is a zombie pinball-esque game with, and what else is about it that's, because that sounds pretty interesting as a whole, but what else is the game about? What do players experience as they're playing the game and stuff?
Well, being a roguelike, the characters that you play as, you get to pick one different hero every time you play through, so there's permadeath. And as soon as you start, you land on a open world that's randomly generated out of tiles, sort of like a tabletop game.
Okay, cool.
And from there, you can pick if you want to interact with zombies to fight them in a pinball style, or you could go to a shop if you're low on resources.
Okay, cool. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so as we're going around talking to a lot of devs and stuff, we're asking the main question of the day is, what are some of your marketing challenges, and what you guys are doing to overcome them?
Well, I know that the owners of this studio have been going to a lot of conferences like PAX and such, and they'll host a game and let people play it. But the thing is that there's a lot of market saturation.
Yes.
If you're old enough to remember, back in the 80s, 83, there was a big crash, with this piles and piles of Atari.
Yes.
For what was it?
E.T.
E.T. Thank you. So we're kind of like reaching that saturation point again, especially with all the online stores. So it's really hard to get heard. So when you come to these events, especially PAX, where there's a lot of individuals, they're not pressured to dress up. You can like cosplay and stuff and be yourself.
Yep.
People are more open to actually talk to you and get to know you and play the game.
Nice. So an event like PAX is really big for you guys and the company owners because it gets that exposure that they typically don't elsewhere or whatever, right?
Right, exactly. Because last year I personally went to GDC, which is more geared towards AAA developers, and I got the distinct impression that unless you were really high up and had coattails for someone to ride, they didn't give a dang about you.
Yep.
So. Coming to here, it's like night and day. Everyone's got a smile, they want to chat, you can actually make friends, interactions with substance.
Yeah.
And I really love it. I'm never going to GDC ever again. I'm just going to come here. It's
awesome.
been amazing.
That's great to hear. So you mentioned, too, with the saturation and the fact that, like, a good point because, like, booth presence is obviously a big thing and everything. And with people traveling, like, all over the world for that matter, setting up an elaborate booth isn't necessarily an option because of costs and other things associated with that. But you guys have seemed to have found a solution around that because I see this really, hopefully I'll take a picture and then put it up in the show notes, but you guys have this quite elaborate wall of what exactly? Tell me what's on the wall behind us.
Okay, so I mentioned that last year I went to GDC, right? Well, it's really high stakes and stressful. So at the end, on the last day, I decided to host an art jam and let everybody relax and unwind, have snacks, and draw to their heart's content. And it was really popular. It was actually so popular that it became a fire hazard, and the fire marshal told us to go over to a designated space that they set aside for us to work on tables. And it was so welcoming for everyone that I tried to convince the owner of this company to let us do it here. And he was very skeptical at first, but since we had a bit of negative space here in our booth, I convinced him to go with me to Target. We grabbed the cheapest blanket we could find, we spread it out, and got 2 boxes of typical Crayola and a couple little clipboards with drawing paper. And I kept trying to tell him, this isn't going to be enough. Trust me, people love this. And on the first day, we almost ran out of materials, and last night I had to go get more. Everybody's been drawing little characters like their own zombies, just to fit the theme. And, no pressure. They could draw stick figures, and if they put their contact information on the back, we take all the drawings from each day and pick one at random and give them a free code to the game.
Wow, that's awesome. So that's definitely an awesome solution to standing out a little bit more, especially where, I mean, this is like maybe not, I wouldn't call it guerrilla, so to speak, but it's a very low cost but very effective and engaging way, with the overall gaming community and really getting people into your booth and talking to them about zombie rollers. Yeah,
especially because we only have 2 stations. There was a real shortage of chairs and monitors and stuff here. Even the companies that are supposed to rent to you ran out.
Oh, wow.
So we actually had to go to Target and buy a monitor, like a big TV, this big one here, and set up a computer as like a last-ditch effort. So since there aren't enough spaces to go around, a lot of time people will wait in line, and they get bored and they don't want to stand around. So I started this promotion. I drew up a little thing saying, draw a zombie, be entered in for a chance to get a free game, and then bring them over here so that they can use it as a relaxing waiting area. And then as soon as space opens up, I'm like, hey, come on over.
Yeah, just that's awesome and just a really smart way to leverage your space and any limitations that you found. So it sounds like you guys are doing an awesome job, and this artwork looks great. And I have a feeling that you might have to ask the booth next door for if you could borrow some of their space a little bit to put some more pictures up, because it's going to get there, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's already running out, and I really would like to pitch this to the entire conference itself.
Yeah.
Because we actually had some parents come by with their kids, and they're all tired and tuckered out. but the kids have energy. So I said, well, just come here and hang out, because I used to teach art to kids.
Oh,
and
okay.
it's been a really good resource just for the attendees, even if they're not interested in our game in particular.
Yeah.
It's just good to help one another.
Yeah, that's just a great way to go about it. Well, Kari, that was awesome. Zombie Roller sounds really cool, and just you guys just keep up the great work. It's looking great.
Yeah, absolutely. High fives. Boom.